where you now have a situation where you cannot explain. For example, you look at the procedures for voting in this country. One, if you are given a ballot paper, and for whatever reason you mark it badly or you spoil it, you can't be given another one. You are supposed to cast it in as a ballot paper, but now it will be, when we are doing the tallying, it will be taken in as a spoiled vote. So you even ask yourself, what is the need of printing these extra ballot papers? Because the argument, first of all, they come and they say that we've done only 1%. When the tallies are actually done, they actually say that when we realize that they've done more than that, they are actually now say we were rounding them to 50. Meaning even the consistency of what was actually happening, they can't explain. But what is more important to ask Kenyans is, one, why? Because also we need to ask, because one, they're printing these things, we already even know the costs. Like how much does it cost to print an extra ballot paper? And two, we also know that the voter turnout cannot be 100. Thirdly, we also know that these ones won't be used because once you've been given, like for example, let's say that you only want to vote for the president, you'll still be given the 6 ballot papers. If you don't want to mark them, you'll still put them into the ballot box without marking anything, and they'll be counted as unmarked. So you ask yourself, why print what won't be used under the law?
Dunstan, are you concerned about the numbers? Should what Ekuro Court is saying be true?
One thing I believe is true, because actually IBC admitted to that fact. But more importantly, you know, we also, without appearing to hold brief for IBC, I think that is not within my purview. But what are the explanation behind the 1% or 5%. more or 5% extra ballot papers? The explanation for me, the contingency measure. If you're looking at it from the contingency measure perspective, if there's any problem in terms of maybe the printouts, maybe if there are any spoiled in terms of which are not incorrect, in terms of problematic ballot papers, and I think for the explanation in terms of contingency, it makes sense to me if there is any problem.
Although within the guidelines that they're given, there is already provision for the contingency, which is the 1%.
Yeah, assuming there's a problem in terms of the framework, in terms of maybe the outlook or the copies, then I think that for me that makes a lot of sense. If there is a problem, if there's no problem, I also think IBC should come out clearly and explain how these extra ballot papers will be stored and how they will be distributed, so that the public can have a level of confidence in the operation. If they explain to the Kenyans that, okay, we have this 1.2 million extra ballot papers for the presidential elections for candidates, then this is how they're going to be distributed, and this is how the measures are going to be taken so that they are not maybe sneaked into the voting exercise, then it will make sense. So I think it behoves the IBC to come out clearly and explain in terms of how the operations of the extra. Yes.
Paul, given the dark clouds that ABC has had cast over them throughout, and still, even now, with only, is it 8 days to go before we got to get to the general elections, are we almost, is it a poison chalice that, you know, either way, whichever way it goes, that we are likely to see dissatisfied Kenyans? And of course, the display of dissatisfaction could come out differently. It could come out in violent parts in different places, which, God forbid, it happens. But we could also have a dissatisfied electorate, regardless of how it goes.
You see, the whole issue is not really about holding elections. The real issue is holding credible, accountable, and verifiable elections. And I can tell you, IBC are setting a stage where people are beginning to be suspicious of what is happening.
I'm not sure whether they're beginning or it's been the case right from the word go. Because this is not something that is starting now. You know, basically IEBC, let me not say being attacked, but being viewed as one that is not prepared.
Yes, I agree with you. Like, for example, if IBC came and told us that before they started the printing of the presidential ballot papers, they agreed with the presidential candidates to their representative. And you can actually get to see one of the presidential candidates coming and saying, I'm also surprised by this, meaning IBC are, the referee is already operating outside the limit or outside the regulations that are allowed. And two, everything that is surrounding these elections can actually tell you that we need really to be careful. And if we are not, then we are going to deal with a situation where certain people already feel that this election is already predetermined. Like I can tell you, one thing that I'll still insist on, IEBC knew very well. In fact, they understand why the former commission was replaced and why they were put in place, and they are still doing the very, very, very things that people were afraid the former commission was going to do.
All right, Dunstan, as we wind up, basically, whether you feel that IEBC is prepared.
I think IEBC is prepared. And one thing that I must commend IEBC for this election is the degree of consultation and degree of feedback between the various parties. If you have been participating in election in this country earlier on and before this election, there was the level of feedback between the various stakeholders, and the level of public participation in the whole electioneering period and exercise has been limited in the past. But this time round, they'll be able to give people feedback in terms of what they're doing, what they're engaging in, even the areas that probably were not within like taking the agents to Dubai. I don't think that was within their mandate, but they have gone a step ahead to ensure that each and every citizen or every concerned citizen or key player in the electioneering period and cycle is satisfied that the participation between the various stakeholders and information that needs to be given is shared. So in terms of preparedness, I think as the commissioners and the whole system has alluded before, I think they are prepared. Okay. But in terms of feedback, I think they have done better than other commissions that have been there before. So that, the kind of public participation and feedback between various parties builds a level of confidence amongst the key players in the cycle. So that level of confidence should also not be abused, or that level of public participation. I think some players in the political sphere have abused that level of public participation in the sense that now they want to take it a level, a notch higher. So when public participation is also given, it does also not
take it too far.
Take it too far as a people.
Paul, your closing comments.
I think to me, I'm not worried so much about the IEBC preparedness because you can see that what they've done, whatever is necessary. I'm more worried about the Jubilee hierarchy, talking of the preparedness of this election and speaking as if they are the official spokespeople for IEBC and why this election must be done under whatever circumstances on 8th of August.
Are you
saying that you don't need
we need to move the elections?
No, I'm not suggesting that we need
I
to
think
move
that
the
that's just a constitutional requirement.
No, I'm not suggesting. I'm actually saying that anything around the election that should be responded to by IEBC. We get Duale, we get Uhuru, we get Ruto, who are political players, talking more about IEBC preparedness than IEBC itself.
But that is politics. I mean, IEBC can come out and, cut their niche and say, this, we are prepared or not prepared. But whether politicians speak on their behalf
really
or not,
matter.
Does it matter?
Holding election is not just the act of providing the ballot papers on the ballot boxes and casting them. There must be an environment that facilitates that. And actually, I can tell you, everything considered, the national government seemed to be more keen on determining the environment around the elections than IEBC.
I think that's one of their roles, probably.
We'll have to wind it up right there, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Dunstan, Riziki, and Paula all this morning. That's a Dawn Debate. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, it's time for The Way It Is, basically putting into perspective what has been happening, politically speaking, especially over the weekend and the last week. In just a bit, Michelle Ngele is going to be driving that particular segment, so do stay with us right here on KTN News.
This is KTN News.
Mama Rosa anakuita. Mama Rosa anakuita.